guys, it's Katie. Welcome back to my channel. It's time for a book review. Today we are reviewing Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Let me just start out with saying that yes, I recommend this. This was the second book I've read this year that I would give a full 5 out of 5 or 10 out of 10, however you know, whatever scale you want to use. It was amazing and I loved it. And I do believe they're making this into a mini series, which is always exciting. Here I have my trusty bibliophile journal where I like to jot things down. So I read this book in like 5 days, which yes, we're in a quarantine, so I don't, I have a lot of time, but still for me, that's good because I'm very distracted. And so it was super good. I always make comments about this. The chapter length, okay, back it up, Katie. Let me tell you what this is about. This is not a spoiler. This is like what it says on the back and on the flap and all that, the inside flap. It's basically a historical fiction, and it is the story of the rise and fall of this like rock band in the 70s. It's not a real band. So that's the gist of it. And they're actually, so the band, the Six, was something separate from Daisy Jones. They were just two different musicians in this space. And then they eventually kind of crossed paths and collaborated. And what I was going to say about the chapters is that they are right up my alley in terms of they're short and it's easy to read fast. Like that really, really helps me. And in fact, the whole book is just written like, it's like Simone, then Daisy, then Simone, then Billy, then Eddie. Like it's just like the different characters constantly on every page, like saying their different pieces. And so in terms of being able to just flow through it, that was really helpful. Let's see. This was a book I've heard about for a while. It's on Reese's book club. It's like one of the best sellers, blah, 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 blah. But this and Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which is another one of her books, which was my other 5 out of 5 book this year, they both like, I don't know, there was something about it where I was just like not grabbed, not captivated with like the cover and I don't know, I was just kind of like, no, I was wrong. It's so well written. It is so interesting. I did not predict what was going to happen. I really liked the ending. I just really liked it. And another thing, like I think if you're somebody who really likes music, it's really, really cool to see and hear the ways they talk about like writing songs. And I don't know, I just think like if you're into music and if you're into like 70s culture at all, or like, it also talks a lot, like there's a lot of drug stuff going on in here, which I wasn't alive in the 70s, but I feel like that's pretty in tune for what was going on with these bands. And I don't know, it was just really, really, really good. Let's see, I wrote in here for anybody who's read this, it's not a spoiler, but my favorite character, there's a part in here for character notes, is Camila, which was the lead singer of the band Billy. He's like one of the main characters. Billy's wife. Oh my gosh, I love Camila. Like, I just feel like she is an amazing woman. She is like, she just really resonated with me. Like she was totally my favorite character. Quotes, that's always another part of the little journal there. I took pictures of several. I haven't written them down yet because I don't know, I just haven't. But let me see if I can find some good quotes. I liked this. This was in regards to like writing music. He's talking about how the girl, Daisy Jones, wrote this particular song. She had written something that felt like I could have written it, except I knew I couldn't have. I wouldn't have come up with something like that, which is what we all want from art, isn't it? When someone pins down something that feels like it lives inside of us, takes a piece of your heart out and shows it to you. It's like they're introducing you to a part of yourself. And that's what she did with that song. I really liked that description because I think that as like an average Joe civilian, like we all know, if you know me, that Taylor Swift is my favorite artist and she's such an amazing songwriter. But not just Taylor. I mean, there's so many songs where like you hear the lyrics and you're just like, oh my gosh, like you feel it in your bones. And so the part where it's like, it feels like I could have written it except I knew that I couldn't have. Like, I just really think that's a really cool description of music and how it can make you feel. Oh, this was just like a random little part, but this also, I don't know if it resonated with me. I guess, yeah, I just thought this was an interesting thing to bring up. He's talking about, Okay, so Billy, the main character, is talking about his little brother, Graham, who's also in the band, and how when they were little kids, the mom used to take them swimming at the pool, blah, blah, blah. This is like actually really random. It's just this specific thing that... So he's talking about how when I used to stand there next to him, my brain would go, I could push him in. So when the little boy was like a baby, I could push him in, and that terrified the hell out of me. I didn't want to push him in. I never would push him in, but it scared me that the only thing between this moment of calm and the biggest tragedy of my life was me choosing not to do it. That really tripped me out, that everyone's life was that precarious. There wasn't some all-knowing mechanism in place that stopped things that shouldn't happen from happening. I thought that was so smart and just so like, wow, that's really true. And I do know what that feeling is like. Like, I can't necessarily recall a specific time, but you know what I mean? Oh, okay. Here's one. Like, if you've ever been to New York or anywhere where there's, where are you? Where there's like a subway type system or like a train type system. Like, if you're standing there next to the subway tracks, you're just like, I'm not going to jump in here. I'm not, but like, that's the one thing that's separating life and death. Like, I just thought that was a really interesting, I've never heard anybody talk about that, and I immediately knew what the author meant by that. Okay, here, I don't want to give any spoilers, but, okay, I'll just say that it's about a mistake that you almost make, but then you don't. And so he's talking about, I realized it wasn't very important. Like, so he's sitting there beating himself up for this mistake. And he says, history is about what you did, not about what you almost did, not about what you thought about doing. So I was proud of what I did. I like that, because just because you consider making a bad choice, like, I've been there. I feel like we all have. And you might harp on like, oh my gosh, how did my brain even go there? But it's like, okay, but you didn't do it. So, okay, this was interesting. Talking about like marriage and relationships and fidelity and trust. And if you know me, this has always been a subject that I find very interesting. I've had my own personal experiences that kind of cause me to like, I don't know, not believe in it, or I don't know. It's just something that I'm always curious about and like to explore. And I like this element of like being realistic about it, not necessarily accepting less than whatever, lowering your standards, and not, I don't know, but just being realistic, like, in my opinion. So, blah, 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 blah. She's talking about how she tells her husband, and I won't even necessarily tell, like, this character tells their husband that she's gonna go get lunch with, who was it? It was like, she gets a call from a guy from her past, like way back in high school when like he had feelings for her and whatever. And she tells her husband she's gonna go get lunch with him, and she gets lunch and she's gone. It says she was gone for 4 hours. No one eats lunch for 4 hours. When she got back, she gave me a kiss, and she, started doing laundry or something. And I said, how was your lunch with him? She said, fine. And that's all she said. In that moment, I knew what happened between her and Gary, whether she felt anything, how he felt about her, anything that might have happened. None of it was my business. It wasn't anything she wanted to share. It was a singular moment for her, and it had nothing to do with me. I'm not saying I didn't care. I cared a lot. I'm saying that when you really love someone, sometimes the things they need may hurt you, and some people are worth hurting for. I love that, because you know what I mean? Does that make sense about that not being about like, oh, well, I know they're out like cheating on me and I'm just like rolling over about it. Like, no. But in this case, that person was from her past, and for whatever reason, she went to this lunch, and like, you know what I mean? It like, hopefully nothing happened, but like at the end of the day, does it matter if what she did was what she needed to do, and it ultimately, like, she's still continuing to make the choice to move forward with her? I don't know. Okay, this is, I think it was like the same part of the book, but talking about blah, blah, blah. We promised to put our marriage first, to put our family first. We promised to trust each other in how to best do that. Do you know what to do with that level of trust? When someone says, I trust you so much, I can tolerate you having secrets. You cherish it, you remind yourself how, like, so it's that same idea that, like, you respect and love the person enough to, like, be okay with them having certain secrets or whatever. I like this line a lot. Okay, talking about music. Okay, music is never about music. If it was, we'd be writing songs about guitars, but we don't. We write songs about women. Women will crush you, you know? I suppose everybody hurts everybody, but women always seem to get back up. You ever notice that? Women are always still standing. I was like, yes, queen. And honestly, in all my experiences too of like breakups and stuff, like it has always been you girl standing, like kind of like thriving. Or maybe that's just what I tell myself. I have so many quotes, oh my gosh. Okay, this part was cool. It's where a character is like really opening up to another character and kind of exposing all the skeletons in her closet, da 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 da. And she says, you must think I'm crazy. And he says, and I'm kind of like not telling you which characters these are. I don't know, they're not really spoilers, but, because there's a lot of characters. There were like 7 members of the band, yeah. So she says, you must think I'm crazy. He says, no, everything about you makes perfect sense to me. It seemed like there wasn't anything about me, any truth that I could tell him that he wouldn't accept. Acceptance is a powerful drug, and I should know because I've done them all. And I thought that was interesting, just that like acceptance is a powerful drug. So I just read you like a lot of quotes, and honestly, those don't tell any plot points necessarily, but it just, I hope it shows you like how well written this was. I loved it. I highly recommend it. Like love, love, love. Go get it. During these quarantine times, like I order it on Amazon, Audible even, although I do prefer when I can to like physically read. So, okay guys, let me know if you have any book recommendations. Oh, and have you read anything else by Taylor Jenkins Reid besides Evelyn Hugo and that? Because now I'm like invested in her. So, okay, love y'all. Bye.